So we're talking about the transfer tax and how that could sneak up on you no matter how carefully you've planned your transaction. This is really something you need to think about. So you've sat down with your advisors, you've had this real estate you've been holding for quite a long time, you've done everything you can to minimize your taxes, and maybe you forgot to think about transfer tax. Hopefully you didn't. Transfer tax comes in many shapes, sizes, and forms. Some jurisdictions, it's very simple. Transfer a deed, you record a deed, there's transfer tax. Where the problems really start to come up is when somebody holds a piece of real property inside of a partnership interest. Before states caught on to what they call the controlling interest transfer concept, people would take real property, put it into an entity, sell the entity interest to somebody, and guess what? No transfer tax. So as the states and the local jurisdictions have caught up, many states now have what they call the controlling interest transfer concept. Typically, it kicks in at about 50%, 50% or more. Some states are more than 50%. New York is a 50% or more state. And when we talk about New York, we mean New York City as well. So you know about the transfer tax, and you think you're all set. You've owned this 10% interest in an entity that holds real property, and you've had this for many, many years, and now you're going to sell it. You sell the interest, you say, hey, I'm good, no transfer tax, I only sold 10%, and I have nothing to worry about. Well, you might, and you need to think about this before you sign any deal or do the transaction, because there is what's called an aggregation concept. New York State, New York City, and many other jurisdictions will look to transactions prior to yours and transactions after yours to see if they can come up to this so-called 50% controlling interest transfer. So you go home one day to your mailbox and there's a bill for transfer tax for this interest you sold 2.5 years ago. You don't understand why. You call up your advisor, he explains the aggregation rules to you. In New York State, New York City, any transfers within a 3-year period are going to be presumed to be part of a plan. Of course, you can overcome this presumption, but you really need to prepare for this in advance. The cases in this area are all over the place, and it's really not an area you don't want to enter into if you don't have to. So what can you do? You can put a provision in your contract, possibly with your buyer, that if he or she is the cause of the additional interest purchase, that they will be responsible for the tax. So at least you are indemnified there. So if you own less than a controlling interest in real property and you're looking to participate in a transaction, whether it be selling or buying, you need to carefully think about this aggregation concept and reaching a controlling interest concept and being aware that the transfer tax can sneak up at you at some time in the future.